In this recording, we're going to construct the barycenter of an arbitrary triangle. Use your right button to click new points, to create new points in KSEG. Press the Shift button so that you can select many of them. Press any one of the red items that you see. The one we want is the thing that causes a triangle to be constructed. Notice that the triangle can be adjusted by clicking with the right button. Anything that is selected can be moved, and you need to experiment with these features until you get the hang of it. We will now construct the midpoints of the three sides. We select the side. You notice that we can measure its length. We can find its midpoint. We have found this midpoint. We will do it again. We find the midpoint, and again we find the third midpoint. We will now construct the medians of the triangle, for which we need a vertex and the opposite midpoint. We connect it by a straight line. Strictly speaking, a line in our geometry is infinitely long. We could just as well have chosen an infinitely long line. At this point, you notice that the two will cross at some point, and we will mark that point by choosing the intersection. We have already chosen this median. We will now choose this median as well by pressing the Shift button. We now have two items, and we look up here what we can do with it. The only thing we can do with it is to find the intersection, and there's the intersection. And now we have the payoff. What do you suppose will happen if we take the vertex of the triangle and an arbitrary point? But we don't have an arbitrary point, so we will choose one, and we will connect the two, let's say by a ray this time. So here's our ray. You will notice that if I move this ray to be the third median, that they intersect at the same place. Now, the next feature is somewhat special. It shows you that this construction was not optimally constructed. For instance, if we move one of the points, because the third median was placed into the position of the median, but not constructed as one, it stays put, and we would have to move it again. So in order to avoid that, we will choose that particular median, this one. We will erase it by going to Edit and Undo. Might as well get rid of this point as well. Edit and Undo. And we will do it correctly. We will choose the vertex and the opposite vertex, and we will connect them as before. And now, this situation is a theorem in the following sense. However we move things around, these are the constructors. Remember, we had 3 points. If we move this point around, we can't really move it because it is tied to be the midpoint of that side. A little bit of practice will allow you to do this. We will now stop this and continue at another time. We will continue this lesson by labeling the points. It is possible to label them within KSEG. However, this is somewhat tedious and difficult, and so we will use a different method. We will take a picture of what we have just created by going to File, and we will say Export to an image, and we will export to the ping of the image, which will give us a choice of where to put it. Do not put it into KSEG 04.1. Put it where you should be putting it, namely into your desktop. That's a good place to put it. We can put it there later. Now we give it a name. We will call this centroid-KSEG-1, and we will save it as a PNG bitmap file. Save. We have created additional points to label the midpoints of the opposite sides. We have already moved A prime to where it belongs. We move B prime opposite the vertex B. We move C prime opposite the vertex C. And we very carefully move G to label the centroid. It's a good idea here to label the picture yourself. We will use a smaller, we want to see the text toolbar. Well, I guess we want to make it smaller. Text toolbar. So we will make it, say, size 10 seems to be good for little things like this. And we will put in our label. Centroid-KSEG-1 by Sam Dougal. And the date is a good idea, 28th of July, 09.